I really like the idea that things can come together and things are related through design.
Design encompasses everything. Design can take form of, how you organize your day.
Design is exciting. It's looking at opportunity.
Design is about recombining things in a new way, and that would be creativity, but it's about creating places for people.
It helps us to find problems and solve them with issues through creative problem solving and critical thinking.
Design, because design isn't just making something look pretty, it's making something function and making that thing, help people throughout their daily lives. Design can be something that doesn't look very pretty, but it could save someone's life.
The idea behind the digital fabrications course is really looking at that in a couple of different dimensions. One, it's really looking at familiarizing the students with the tools that are going to be in the industry. So they'll be able to have conversations with engineers, makers, bosses, really looking at that. And so then shifting that scale up, really looking at this as an introduction into practice. So if you look at that, they're going to be they've engaged engineers, they've engaged a client, they've engaged a community. They're really looking at this in a much more professional landscape than what you would normally get from a typical studio environment.
If you guys need anything, yell at me.
This digital fabrications class is really an excellent opportunity that really epitomizes what we do in IAPD and in the college, and that is it combines the profession. It's a sponsored studio through a landscape architecture firm, one of our college's graduates, Norris Design, and Brookfield Residential, one of their clients. And so they're intimately involved in this process. And then it also includes students from all of the disciplines within the college. So it's a very exciting mix, and they're all working together. And once again, it's this aspect of design plus making. So through the design and the prototyping and then the actual fabrication of some of the finished design pieces that are selected. It truly is that kind of aspect of what we do.
The most important sort of function of this and the course is really looking at that we're making things. We're looking at that process. We're understanding what you need to do to prepare for an engineer to be able to evaluate materials, for a client to be able to see the vision in the work. Well, it's bridging that gap. So just like when I was talking about design and creativity and all those engines, when we start to look at that, digital fabrications is really taking that step from the computer and bringing that into the physical realm and prototyping and making and process, and really takes that to a degree of reality that you really can't experience in any other way.
I tend to think of deities being able to make something out of nothing. Whereas for me, invention is taking things that exist and putting them together in a way that someone else had not conceived to address a particular need or opportunity in the environment.
I think of this beautiful blend of knowledge combined with curiosity and innovation, and the ability to weave those together so that a designer is creative, and they creatively use their knowledge and skills to identify problems and then to solve those problems in very innovative ways.
When people break out of their shells, that's when they're truly creative, because seeking that unknown, it's the beauty of our capabilities. That's where our creativity really thrives. It's really endless in that sense.
There's so many people that say, oh, I couldn't do your major or your job because I'm not creative. And I don't believe that. I believe everyone's creative in their own way. They're creative. Maybe they're just a businessman, but the way that they approach problems could be a creative solution.
So if you take Thomas Edison's light bulb, there's nothing in that light bulb that didn't exist. They were brought together to address a need, that of light. All those things existed in ways that others may not have conceived before.
She's a harlot. She can be beautiful, she can be mean, she can be a lot of things. At the end of the day, the design is really about trying to construct something, do something positive that really enhances the human condition. Creativity is applied imagination with a willingness to fail. And that's why we prototype, that's why we test things, that's why there's a time and a place for everything, and it's in college. We have to be willing to try, and we have to be willing to test these things. And I think that it's a tribute to all those involved, particularly those that have skin on the table, people that are paying for this, that they're really investing in something creative, and that takes a willingness and to really want to challenge and ask questions. You have to be willing to fail in that capacity, and that there's a huge value add for that.
So just learning that I shouldn't limit myself by what I think I'm capable of. That I've actually learned through studio and this class that I'm definitely a bit more independent designer than I ever thought I was, I guess.
With digital fabrication, you have to understand the materiality and how it all fits together in the actual fabrication process. And then we get to go and fabricate it ourselves and be able to work with these tools and learn with our hands, which is a very, very interesting prospect to do as a student, to actually get a design fabricated and installed on a site. So it's a great opportunity.
I was just hoping to get my hands on something, on building not just the digital aspect of parametric design, but actually seeing the ideas come into fruition, just manifesting some sort of form.
It was inspiring to introduce these principles but also be doing them, and to learn so quickly all these aspects that go into the design of digital fabrication, and seeing how I could use that in the future, I think is one of the primary things that the class offers.
Getting a student group exposure to the entire process and seeing a project completely through to actual physical working prototypes, I think is a great experience for the individuals that are in the class. I think it's great to try to see something completely through to a working model of something.
Really, they're going to be better prepared than they ever otherwise would have been for what's out there, how to talk to people. Really, until you actually interact with the client and actually have a conversation with them where they ask you a direct question, how does this work? And you have to know the answer to that question, or have an idea about how that can work, or have had a conversation with someone else that knows how that's going to work. That becomes really, really enriching, because then you know how to hedge your bets, have a conversation with people. That helps in interviews, that helps in getting a job, that helps in daily life, getting and being able to communicate with people in a constructive way.
For me personally, I've usually been working on this project for so long that I'm just excited to share it with somebody. I could speak forever about my own projects. What's really difficult is condensing that down and getting it into a format that the client can easily understand.
And personally, I've gone through a lot this year, and so truly finding out what I want to do and how I want the rest of my life to go has been really enlightening, I guess. And it's nice to know some days that you have a clear sense of path.
Like skating, when we fail over and over, you get used to it and you learn what needs to happen, and your body makes the changes, and it's not necessarily just in your head, but it's that change of who you are.
I've always been a student, and a very intense student, where school's kind of been the main point of my life for a very long time now. Just learning how I'm gonna transition from being a student 24/7 to having more of a normal everyday life with a job. And of course I'm becoming more of an adult and graduating and kind of going out into the world more.
So if you start to look at the idea or process of discovery, this has really been rewarding for me. Working with John, working with Jared, those two people have been a huge blessing. And those people, and then also looking at that from the academic standpoint of me being connected with my department chair and my dean, and really looking at them and them being able to see the value in what it is that I'm doing, and that what we are doing as a group.
Awesome work, everybody. I know you got lots of stuff to do too. I can see it in your eyes.
And I don't know that fits into discovery so much, but that really starts to call into question this idea that we really are on the same team, and we're all trying to innovate, and we're all trying to really push the agenda and really push the academic quality here at K-State in that capacity.